You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Welcome back. You're listening to Vocal Technologist. We're digging into some really significant shifts and some frankly surprising innovations happening right now in the crypto and blockchain space.
Yeah, things are moving fast. We've got evolving regulations, completely new ways people are using decentralized tech. It's a lot. We'll try to give you a clear picture of where things seem to be heading.
Okay, let's jump right in. First up, regulation. Robinhood's talking with regulators in Europe, specifically Lithuania, about these new blockchain-based stock tokens, OpenAI, SpaceX, that sort of thing.
That's right. And their CEO, Vlad Tenev, he's emphasizing these are derivatives, not the actual shares.
Mm-hmm.
But regulators are definitely looking closely.
So is the concern just about calling them derivatives, or is it deeper, like how they actually work?
It's definitely deeper than just the label.
Yeah.
They're looking at the tech, how it mimics traditional assets, maybe without all the usual protections. But what's really interesting is Robinhood's tech choice here.
Ah, yeah. They went with Arbitrum 1, and they're planning a custom chain on Arbitrum tech too, right? Why Arbitrum?
Well, a few reasons. Arbitrum's stylus tech is a big one. It lets developers use languages like C++ and Rust, stuff they already know. Makes it way easier for traditional finance folks to get involved.
Okay, lowering the barrier to entry. Makes sense.
Exactly. And crucially, building on Arbitrum lets them capture sequencer fees, basically revenue from processing transactions. That's likely a key reason they didn't go with something like Solana.
Got it. Okay, staying on new products. This one's a bit of a surprise. Truth Social, they've filed for a crypto blue chip ETF.
Yeah, I saw that. Backed by Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and CRO. Starting heavy on Bitcoin like 70% and 15% Ether.
It just shows how mainstream, or at least how far into different corners, crypto is reaching, doesn't it? Even politically charged areas.
It really does blur the lines, culturally and financially.
Yeah.
Okay, let's shift from regulation to pure innovation. Jack Dorsey's got a new thing called BitChat.
Oh yeah, the Bluetooth messaging app. Works totally offline, no internet, no cell signal.
Exactly. And what's wild is, like, within an hour of it launching, people were already sending Bitcoin over its encrypted mesh network.
Seriously, sending Bitcoin with zero internet? That could actually be huge for certain use cases.
Completely. Think about off-grid payments or areas with unreliable connectivity. It's a genuinely new frontier.
Okay, cool. And then there's something called duels. First on-chain prediction market for content coins. What are those?
So yeah, Duels runs on Farcaster, uses Base and Doppler tech. These content coins aren't meant to be like moonshot investments. They're tokens designed to capture attention around media.
So it gamifies engagement, makes it tradable.
Pretty much. Turning clicks and views into actual tradable value.
Yeah.
It's a different way of thinking about attention.
Interesting. And speaking of valuing things differently, OpenSea made a big move acquiring Rally. They're talking about an on-chain everything app.
Yeah, that's a significant strategic shift for them. The goal seems to be simplifying everything. DeFi, perpetual swaps, moving assets between chains for the, hundreds of millions of crypto users stuck on centralized exchanges.
So less focus on just NFT market share, more on growing the whole on-chain pie.
Exactly. They're even embracing stuff like meme coins as cultural things alongside NFTs. It's about getting more people comfortable doing more things directly on-chain.
Okay, that makes sense as a growth strategy. Let's zoom in on Ethereum for a second. It feels like it's really positioning itself as foundational infrastructure.
Definitely, especially with the massive growth in stablecoins. This gives Ethereum a huge opportunity to become the settlement layer, the host, for a kind of new global financial plumbing.
Positioning ETH itself as maybe the reserve asset for this digital dollar economy.
That's the idea. Ethereum offers that unique mix. Global access, perceived institutional safety now, and decentralization, which gives it government resistance.
And there's a flywheel effect, right? More stablecoins mean more demand for ETH as collateral.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Which could pull value from that massive, $500 trillion traditional store value market. Plus, you get staking yields. It's acting almost like a digital oil field.
How so?
Well, you've got the burn mechanism reducing supply, validators locking up ETH, and this huge institutional demand piling in. Since the merge, ETH issuance has been super low.
Right.
Yet you had firms like SharpLink Gaming and Bit Digital just gobble up something like 82% of the new supply in June alone. And the spot ETFs, they hold over 4 million ETH now. That's more than 11 times the net issuance since the merge.
Wow. Okay, that's a serious supply crunch potential.
It really is.
All right, quick market check before we wrap. BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF, IBIT, just keeps growing. Over 700,000 BTC now. That's like $76 billion.
In just 18 months, yeah. They hold over half of all the Bitcoin in U.S. spot ETFs now. Institutional appetite is clearly still strong.
And on-chain loans hit a record high, $28 billion.
Yeah, it jumped $6 billion just in June. Shows leverage is building in the system again. And worth noting, Eigenlabs, the big restaking player, had layoffs, about 25%, as they refocus on a new Eigen Cloud product. So shifts happening there too.
Okay, so pulling this all together, we're seeing regulatory lines being tested with new products, totally offline Bitcoin payments, attention itself becoming tradable, Ethereum solidifying its core role. It feels like things are really accelerating.
They absolutely are. Finance, communication, value. It's all being reshaped incredibly quickly.
Which leads to a final thought for you to chew on.
Yeah, if stablecoins are just the, let's say, the grease helping rebuild traditional finance on blockchains, and we can send Bitcoin without the internet, and trade the value of online content, what completely new ideas about money or value or even ownership are just around the corner, things we probably can't even properly imagine yet.
Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in to Vocal Technologist. We'll catch you next time.
Spoken Tech for your ears.